This is ABN.
Welcome back to Low Effort Gamer Show. One of my favorite genres is the space sim. In these games, you have a spaceship and you're exploring an unknown universe full of wonders and dangers. Sadly, this genre has been kind of neglected, even with the advances of video game technology. However, in 2016, a British developer named Hello Games released No Man's Sky for the PS4. Despite some rough reviews at launch, Hello Games persevered, patched and improved the game, and added content, and today is one of the finest games out in the market. But my roots with the space sim genre go back to the early 80s with Star Raiders on the Atari 8-bits. And in 1992, for the first time, I played a PC game that captured a sense of wonders of the cosmos that wasn't really equaled until No Man's Sky came out. That game is called Starflight. It was originally released on PC in 1986, and in 1992 it got a Genesis port. It was published by Electronic Arts and developed by Binary Systems. It got some unofficial spiritual sequels in the form of the Star Control games. The version I had when I was a kid was a PC version, which had CGA and EGA graphics and limited sound. So the version I'm playing now is actually the Genesis version, which differs from the PC version in some ways, but is generally still the same game. It's got a little bit more physics to it, where the PC version was a more slower, more strategic game. This game's got more physics and action to it. But other than that, the storyline and the galaxy and the exploration are largely the same. So thank you for joining me for Low Effort Gamer Show, and let's take a look at Starflight on the Sega Genesis.
Starflight was one of EA's games for the Genesis that they developed after winning special licensing agreements from Sega at CES 92. This was according to Bing Gordon, who was an executive at EA at the time, from an interview I read in Game Informer magazine. EA's cartridges were larger than normal Genesis cartridges, plus they had the distinctive yellow tab on them. The PC version I had sound that came from this PC speaker, which is one of the worst pieces of computer audio hardware ever invented. It was capable of nothing but beeps, boops, and some rather harsh noises. Here, EA is really rocking out that FM synthesizer that Yamaha made for the Sega Genesis. Plus, the Genesis version's pretty colorful too. Starflight on the PC supported EGA graphics, but most computers at the time of Starflight's release in 1986 still used CGA, which had the four colors of white, cyan, magenta. So EA also added physics to the Genesis version that weren't present in the PC version. The PC version played almost like a computer RPG, kind of an Ultima set in space. On the Genesis, EA added some arcade-style gameplay, which gave you a lot more abilities compared to the PC. The eye door at Starport is where you get messages and get rewarded for logging planets in. This lays out your basic mission. Boldly go where no man has gone before. Where have I heard that before? Anyway, Starflight really did try for a more Star Trek approach to space exploration. Even early Star Trek games tended to emphasize combat with the Klingons. This one focused more on the exploration diplomacy side of things. These messages often have coordinates which can be used as hints as to where to go. Even though the universe is a big place, binary systems really tried to make sure that you at least had some clue about where to go. Here I'm assembling my crew. There are 4 races and plus androids. Each race has their own different proficiencies. The Velox are insects that tend to be proficient at engineering and navigation. The Thrin are proficient in communication. Eloan are proficient at medicine and communication. And humans are proficient at science. Each race also has a different learning rate, so it'll take a lot less to train an Eloan to full proficiency than it will take a Velox. So proficiency not only determines the starting value of each stat, but it also determines the maximum value. Excellent means the stat has a maximum value of 250, good 200, average 150, and poor 100. So having an Eloan as a communication, or a Velox as a communications officer is not a good idea. So basically your optimal crew will include a human science officer, Velox navigator, and engineer. Now, the choice of Thrin or Eloan for communications is a strategic decision. According to the game's lore, the Thrin and Eloan hate each other, and if you talk to the 2 races, you'll find out why. But the upshot is that if you have an Eloan on your crew, you won't be able to establish communication with the Thrin, and vice versa. If you have both a Thrin and an Eloan on your crew, they aren't going to fight each other, but you'll be enemies with both races. So if you have a Thrin on your crew, you're pretty much stuck with the human doctor, because Thrin aren't very good at medicine. The most important stats in this game are science, navigation, and communications. Engineering and medicine are only needed to repair your ship and heal your crew members. Now in the PC version, you very seldom ever got your ship damaged or your crew members hurt. So engineering and medicine, ironically, were the least important stats. In the Genesis version, your crew and your ship are more prone to damage, so you'll need engineering and medicine a bit more in this game. That's one big change from the PC version. So, and then you'll assign your crew once you've trained them. Make sure you assign the properly trained crew member to the correct job. I named a human after Frank from Simpsons, one of the Velox from Baxter Stockman from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The other one was Zorak from Space Ghost. Audrey 2 is from Little Shop of Horrors, voiced by Levi Stubbs. Feed me, Seymour. So now in the ship construction, you can buy cargo pods, armor, weapons, shields. You also have to name your ship. In the Genesis version, you can outfit your terrain vehicle. In the PC version, you couldn't. Also, weapons are a lot more involved in the Genesis version than the PC version. We're going to name our ship the Orville. Alright, that's the trading post. We don't have any business there yet. This is where you go to launch out into space. Alright, so now you're traveling in your solar system. Your home planet is named Earth and is represented by a space station. There's supposed to be a planet there, but in the Genesis version, the only thing you see is the space station. Now, conveniently, the innermost planet in the system is loaded with minerals, so you can go there and mine to your heart's content and get the money you need to outfit your expedition. One of the setups of the PC version was that Interstel, which is the company that oversees the space program, doesn't have a lot of money. So you have to earn your own money to outfit your own ship by mining. So a lot of computer games at that time had trading games in them. So the planets, I imagine, were procedurally generated, just like the planets in No Man's Sky. On the Genesis, I think the maps were probably more pre-drawn. In the PC version, every mineral deposit that was exploitable was visible on the map. In the Genesis version, you have to dig. Your terrain vehicle only has so much fuel, so you don't have a lot of range. You can use the mineral scan to find mineral deposits. In the PC version, you can use the science officer scanners to scan life forms and ruins as well. This version doesn't allow you to do that. This version also, terrain has a lot different effects. Some terrain's kind of rough to go over and can drain your energy rather rapidly. If you don't have pontoons on your terrain vehicle in the Genesis version, you can actually sink into the ocean and have an instant game over. Also, there's actual weather effects on the planets in the Genesis version, whereas in the PC version, the weather was depicted using text descriptions. EA actually took advantage of more advanced technology to try to enhance this version. There were still some trade-offs, but overall this version might be a little more playable for most players. However, the PC version is available on Good Old Games and on EA's Origin service. One thing that the Genesis version also added was the ability to engage in atmospheric flight on planets. In the PC version, you can only land or take off. Any travel on a planet had to be done with a terrain vehicle. In this one, you can skim over the surface, which if you land in the wrong spot, it makes it easier to land in a better spot on the planet. Anyway, I'm going to mine some minerals, and then we're going to sell them at the mineral trade depot at the starport. And we'll use that money to buy more fuel and outfit our ship. I found that mining is oddly relaxing in games like this. Heck, one of the most popular games of all time has got mining in its title. Minecraft. So, once your terrain vehicle is filled up, you have to go back to your ship and empty all your cargo. But keep in mind, your ship also has limited cargo space. Every cargo pod you buy at Starport increases your ship by 50 cubic meters of capacity. Life forms take up capacity, as do artifacts. Although artifacts take up negligible capacity for the most part. going to fly to a couple more sites to load up my ship with sellable minerals. I know this part isn't too exciting, but this is how the game expects you to start out your mission to save the galaxy. Some elements may be necessary to repair your ship if it's damaged. In these cases, you won't be able to complete the repairs without the element, and if that particular piece of equipment is malfunctioned, then you won't be able to use it. So your engineer has a critical role in keeping your ship functioning. You don't want your weapons to crap out on you while you're engaged in a dogfight with enemy spaceships. You also don't want your communications to die while you're trying to talk to an enemy or even a friendly alien race. You could become an enemy if you don't talk to them. Alright, we're loading up on silver and antimony here.
Fuel level critical.
So I flew over to one more spot here to finish loading up my ship, and then we're going to go back to Starport and sell all this stuff. So now back to Starport. In this version of Starflight, the planets and even the stars exert gravity on you. The stars aren't dangerous to orbit around. You can't land on them either. So it's just more of a example of the physics that EA added to this game when they ported it to the Genesis. Alright, we're going to go to the trading post, sell all these metals that we've mined. Endurium is the fuel of your spaceship. If you don't have any Endurium, your spaceship will not fly. Endurium is a huge plot point in this game. In fact, according to the documentation that comes with this game, Endurium is pretty much a religion. So here, unpleasant news. This basically lays out the central conflict of the game. All of the stars are starting to flare. Anytime they flare, all the life within the system dies. So you've got to evacuate people from Earth, which you do by recommending colony worlds. But you've also got to find out what the source of these flares are and put a stop to it. So, going forward, when you enter a system, it'll tell you how much time you have before the star flares. Earth's star will flare on 1/1/46/21, conveniently a year in game time from your start of your mission. So you have until 46/21 to figure out where the flares are coming from. Otherwise, your home world will be destroyed. In the PC version, you could keep on playing, but you couldn't dock with Starport anymore. I think in the Genesis version, if you don't complete within a certain time, then the game just ends. Come to think of it, I think it took 300 days for the master to overrun your vault in Fallout. So I loaded up on spaceship fuel in Durium, and I got caught in the gravitational pull of that planet again. I don't plan to visit this planet again for right now. I'm going to fly to the outer edge of the solar system map, and when you do that, you'll enter hyperspace and can travel between the stars. Earth is at 125, 100. This universe only operates on XY planes instead of being three-dimensional as real space would be. I mean, that's the best they could do back in 1986. Didn't really have the computing ability to calculate a three-dimensional space map. But this game works pretty well for what it is. It's a really good game, and if you are interested in trying out a classic space sim, I would definitely recommend giving this game a try. This planet has oxygen and water, has acceptable temperatures, and it has acceptable gravity. So I'm going to recommend it for colonization. The instruction manual outlines the criteria for what a planet needs before it's acceptable. If you log a planet that's not suitable, you'll get fined for it. This planet also has life on it, and it's got some ruins on it. Planet-side ruins flesh out the story, plus they have hints for other places you can try going. Since this is the old empire, a lot of these ruins are interconnected, and they kind of tell a story of the last days of the empire before whatever disaster happened to it. This game is set in 4620. The empire collapsed in the year 3500. So the empire's been gone for 1100 years at this point. And these ruins, as well as talking to aliens, will give you a picture of what was going on in the last days. So and you can use your terrain vehicle's guns to attack life forms. Once they're dead, you can pick them up and put them on your ship. You can upgrade your terrain vehicle's guns. If you don't land smoothly, your ship makes the comical boinging noise. I think it does that in No Man's Sky too. So this game started a proud tradition of slapstick badge spaceship landings.
Fuel level critical.
Anyway, I just got some coordinates, so
Fuel level critical.
I'll visit that place later. Like a lot of old PC games, Starflight encouraged you to take notes with pencil and paper. Nowadays, games lag all that information into the game itself. It's like Lee Carvalho's putting challenge now with scoring pencil. Starflight did have a captain's log in the PC version where you could take notes on, in the game itself. And I actually made generous use of that. It's kind of quaint to think of using a pencil and paper to make maps in video games, but that's how we used to do it back then. That's one of those terrain formations that makes difficult moving and also drains your fuel supply. Again, I don't remember if I bought pontoons for my terrain vehicle, but if you don't have them on when you go into the water, your terrain vehicle can sink and then game over. Just coming back to these ruins to make sure I've got the coordinates that I need. And we're taking off. Alright, we still got plenty of fuel left. Stars are... The colors of the star determine the temperature of the star. Blue stars are the hottest, so habitable planets around blue stars would be the outermost planets. Red stars are the coolest, so the inner planets would be more habitable. They conform to the OBAF GKM classification of stars, with the sun being a yellow G-class star. I know that the PC version had star classifications. So, you go to the interstellar briefing room to get rewarded for any planets that you logged, or penalized for any bad planets that you told them about. Usually a planet's worth from 30 to 50,000 monetary units. And I sold that life form I picked up on the planet. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my ship's engines. Better engines are not only faster, but they use fuel more efficiently. So you get further on a cubic meter of endurium than you normally would. Plus, if you have weak engines and your ship's loaded down, you're going to go very slowly and be sitting ducks for any enemies. Go ahead and get some weapons as well. Starflight on the Genesis offers a lot more options for weapons, and that's in part due to the more action-based, arcadey gameplay of the battles. In the PC version, battles honestly behave more like a RPG, with dice rolls determining a hit or a miss, even though the action was played out on a screen in action sequences, and you could move around in the sector with enemy ships.
Leaving solar system.
Continuum fluxes are wormholes that allow you to rapidly travel across the universe. You can use your science officer to analyze the strength of any ships you encounter, but the most important job will go to the communications officer. So we've made our first contact, and it's with androids that are called the McCann. We're trying to gain their trust. They're going to ask a bunch of questions. The hints for these questions can actually be found in a different part of the galaxy. There's a planet where you'll encounter a ship that will give you the clues that you need to deal with the McCanns. I played this game before, so I know a lot of the answers and stuff. When I first played this was a big mysterious universe. Once you know where everything is, you can actually speedrun this thing in probably less than an hour. But the exploration the first time was just unparalleled. So far the McCanns don't trust me. They're asking questions about Noah and Layton. And some of that stuff's explained in the manual. Noah is described in the manual as the expedition which put humans on Earth in the first place, so the McCanns are obviously related to Earthlings. And that's Arth with A-R-T-H, not Earth. Although Earth does exist in this universe.
Entering solar system.
This is actually the home system of the McCanns. We're gonna
Scanning.
talk to them again. The McCanns, you actually don't need a trained communication officer to talk to them, because they're assumed to speak the same English that you do. The one requisite for dealing with the McCanns is that you have to have at least one human crew member. If you don't have any human crew members, then they'll consider you hostile aliens. I don't know if your captain, the name that I gave myself at the beginning of the game, I don't know if the captain's considered to be a human. In the PC version, the captain was a separate crew member. So, I don't know if the captain's considered to be a human. But you generally need a human science officer anyway, because humans are the only race that's really proficient at science in Starflight. We're going to go to that blue water planet. We're going to use the silence officer to... And we're going to get through this encounter first. Usually takes about 3 encounters to gain the McCann's trust to where they'll answer questions. And once they do, they'll really open up a lot of the clues in the game for you. So, definitely worth getting to know the McCanns. Every alien encounter gives you only so much time before they break off communications. There's at least a couple of alien encounters where you'll be attacked instantly as soon as you see them. Alright, let's scan this planet. Oxygen and water.
Analyzing.
Good gravity, good weather, good temperature. So we'll log this planet.
Planet log.
And we'll land on this planet to kind of explore, see what's got on it. Looks like... Yep. So I damaged my ship by landing too hard on it. That's kind of what I meant about the Genesis versus the PC version. In the PC version, it was honestly hard to damage either your crew members or your ship. in the Genesis version and a lot more fragile. So we're going to see what we can see on this planet. And it's raining. I like the weather effects of the Genesis version of Starflight. Yep, there's some life. Yeah, better get back to my terrain vehicle. Am I gonna make it? Barely, but I made it. I do like the ability to engage in atmospheric flight that was added to the Genesis version. You know, if you wanted to travel somewhere else on the planet, in the PC version you had to launch and then land all over again. So definitely quality of life improvement there.
Fuel level critical. I don't think there's a lot on this planet, so I'm going to go ahead and take off, go back into space. I'm going to repair my communications just to make sure my radio doesn't crap out when I'm trying to talk to the McCanns. Yep.
Leaving solar system.
You can select 3 different postures to your communication. For most races, you'll use the friendly posture. A couple of races will only talk to you if you're obsequious, which means that you're groveling for mercy. Hostile posture usually gets you involved in combat, so only use hostile posture in certain situations. Still answering questions for the McCann. Hopefully that our database are at your disposal. Alright, so that means we can now start asking questions. This is where we start learning about the nature of the universe and the old empire, the ancients. General topics are also useful. These communications give important clues about planets to visit, as well as coordinates as to where to land on those planets. Different races have their own different areas of expertise. A lot of progressing in this game involves piecing together the clues that you receive from various alien races. The McCanns are a good starting point, though. Pay attention to what they say about the Institute.
They also have information about Earth, not Arth, which is useful once you do find the Earth. I've already gotten a couple of hints. For instance, I know to visit Mars when I go to the Earth system. And again, you only have so much time to answer questions for the aliens get tired of you. Encounters are a lot more frequent in the Genesis version. Sometimes they can get kind of frustrating. In the PC version, it was the opposite. Sometimes it was hard to find encounters when you really needed some information. Those sparkly things you see in the star map are continuing fluxes, and those are the wormholes that can make travel across the galaxy a lot easier, not to mention more fuel efficient. If you know where they are, it can get you out of a couple of tight spots too. Project Noah was a project to get humanity away from the Earth before it was destroyed. Earth was one of the planets that was selected for colonization. It was apparently the only... That's an important clue. 118, 146. And it gives up some coordinates on the planet itself. So we'll go investigate those coordinates. Usually once you get coordinates from an alien race, that means it's something important. Starflight does a good job of balancing important stuff with stuff that's just there for window dressing and to flesh out the world, like the best video games do. Not everything needs to be geared towards the final resolution of the game. Alright, we're gonna go investigate that planet. Sorry, it's 143, 115. So this is a probe that guards the planet. It's a Velox probe. It's going to ask for me a series numbers. The Velox are insects, and they worship the number 6. So you say yes to multiples of 6 and no to numbers that aren't multiples of 6. You can actually get a clue about this talking to the Velox themselves. Keep in mind I have played this game before. So I disarmed a probe so I can go down and investigate that planet. Analyze this planet. Oxygen, water, temperature, gravity, and weather. It's perfect. Log the planet and land at the coordinates that we got from the McCanns. Doesn't have to be exact, but it should be close by. And I just had another rough landing. I think I landed in a bad spot. That's that terrain that is rough to drive over and sucks out the energy of your terrain vehicle. We're going for that little red diamond there. That is a black egg. When we get back onto the ship, we're going to analyze that black egg and see what it does. And we might as well capture a couple of life forms. And pick up some minerals to sell at Starport. I like the little sound effects this game makes. If your terrain vehicle can be attacked by the life forms on the planet, they'll attack its armor, but once its armor is gone, they'll start injuring your crew members and damaging the vehicle. Every mineral scan costs energy on your terrain vehicle, which shortens the effective distance. I think we're going to get back on the ship and take off. Alright, science officer, artifacts, black egg, planet bomb. So that means the artifact I just picked up can blow up a planet. What could we possibly need for something like this?
Leaving solar system.
Why do we need something that can blow up a whole planet?
Entering solar system. Orbit established. Scanning. Analyzing. Scanning. Planet log.
Go ahead and log that planet, even though it looks kind of inhospitable from space. You have to take a much more active role in landing your ship on the Genesis than you did on the PC. You have to use your thrusters to guide your ship to a gentle landing. That takes up some of your precious endurium. I should probably head back to my ship now. Yeah, I think I screwed up here. Now we get to find out what happens when you run out of fuel on the planet's surface. Your ship sends out a little life drone, takes you back to the ship. Your terrain vehicle is lost. You have to go get a new terrain vehicle from Starport. They're going to charge you money for it. Plus any upgrades that you made to your terrain vehicle are lost. So, I screwed that one up. Anyway, now you know why you need to conserve fuel on your terrain vehicle.
Leaving solar system.
And we're going to head back to Earth since we're pretty close to it. 125, 100.
Solar system.
We're going to go get spanked over losing our terrain vehicle, plus rewards over logging a couple of good planets, we hope.
Orbit established.
Alright, we'll go into the Interstellar Conference Room. Yeah, loss of terrain vehicle. Cost me 10,000 units. But I got 35,000, 45,000, 35,000 for all those planets. So I made a net profit. I'm gonna sell these minerals and but on the upside, now I can outfit my ship with shields and weapons and armor. Difference between shields and armor is very heavy, it slows your ship down and causes it to burn more fuel. However, shields cannot be used in nebulas. Shields also consume fuel at a set rate per minute. You'll need armor in case you get caught in battle in a nebula. Armor also has to be replaced. Shields automatically recharge on their own as long as they're not destroyed. Put a couple of new things on my new terrain vehicle. We're going to go launch out into space again. Now we're armed with a few new clues about where to go.
Leaving solar system.
Okay, over here is a continuum flux that will take us quite a bit to the east. You'll run into 4 different directions in this game:
Entering
upspin, downspin, forward, and outward. They correspond to north, south, east, and west in a conventional RPG. Alright, let's talk to this ship.
Scanning.
Doesn't have any life on it, and it's mostly dead.
Analyzing.
It's a derelict. We're gonna hail it and see what happens. And it's giving us a distress signal. So, this is the Lost Noah ship that the McCanns were waiting for. They apparently got attacked, and the surviving crew members had to put down on the first planet of the system. We got some coordinates as to where their base camp was. They probably didn't survive. So we know what happened to at least one Noah expedition. Oxygen, water,
Analyzing.
gravity, weather, and temperature are okay. We'll log this planet.
Planet
Hopefully it'll be a better world for Earth than it was for the colonists of the ship, the Last Hope. So we're gonna land on the coordinates given to us by the distress signal, and then we can find out what happened to the crew of the Last Hope. I should have bought some snow runners on my terrain vehicle, because now I'm skidding all over the ice and burning up fuel like crazy. Plus, these life forms are really aggressive. So this tells you what exactly happened to the crew of the Last Hope. And given how aggressive those monsters were, I can see why they didn't make it. Even though I've run out of fuel, the physics engine is just causing me to just skid over the ice for about 20 miles till the lifeboat can pick me up. Sometimes physics-based games can have unintentionally humorous results. Or maybe it was intentional. It's kind of like all those death videos that you saw for Breath of the Wild when it first came out. All the funny ways Link could die.
Leaving solar system.
Alright. That's a nebula. That's one of the places where the shields don't work. You can see there's a group of 4 stars. You can probably guess that they're likely important for some reason. Alright, we'll see where this flux goes. All of these fluxes are mapped on your star map. See what this encounter is. It's a big, huge squid-like creature. So let's talk to him. I think this creature is called a minstrel. So here we've just gotten an important clue. We now know the reason why the stars are flaring. Apparently the ancients felt threatened by life in the galaxy, so now they're making all the stars flare to cleanse the galaxy. But it also says it's in self-defense. So with this one encounter, we've gotten a good chunk of the game's backstory. So since this is repeating, I think that they've told us everything they have to say. Alright, so now we have a pretty good idea of what's behind the flares. We just have to find out where they are. And like I said, I played this game back on a PC, so I still kind of remember where a lot of the stuff is.
Entering solar system.
There's something important on this planet. Plus, it's a good colony world, I believe.
Orbit established.
But I also don't have a terrain vehicle yet, because I lost my terrain vehicle back on that ice planet after you watched it skid all over the place. Just like me skidding off the road when I was about 20 during a snowstorm.
Orbit established. Planet log.
When I landed on this planet, I forgot that I didn't have a terrain vehicle. So I pretty much wasted my time there, but at least I got the planet logged, and we will revisit this later.
Leaving solar system.
Gonna head back to Earth and get a new terrain vehicle. Also get some money for all these nice planets that we
Entering
found.
solar system.
Travel on the PC version was a lot slower. That's one thing about the Genesis version, is that travel's a lot faster, so it's faster to get to different places in the galaxy. So here's more messages, and we've got more clues about where to go. Definitely need some more fuel. Those two devices, one's for your terrain vehicle, the other one's a communication device. Just gonna get some Endurium for fuel. We're gonna go and investigate these new leads that we've gotten.
Leaving solar system.
Want to hang out with the McCanns to get a couple more hints. You can also encounter the Velox, Thrin, and Elowan in this game. At different locations in the galaxy. Each of them has their own realm of knowledge. The Elowan are knowledgeable about the ancients and have some clues that will be necessary for you to stop the solar flares. So we're going to head downspin, which is south. We've gotten a clue about a planet called Acteron 6, which was the headquarters of the Institute, and we're developing a way to stop the solar flares. See what these are. Probably more McCanns. Yeah, like I said, the encounter rate on the Genesis version sometimes gets annoying. I don't think they really have anything else, any other information that I need for right now. When you go through a continuum flux, the star map will log its starting and ending points. You can use them to get around really quickly. So we're gonna hang around in space, burning fuel. Fuel seems to burn a lot more quickly in the Genesis version than it did in the PC version. If you have your shields and your weapons armed when you go into an encounter, alien races can interpret it as hostility. Ah, these are the Elewan. That's what the Elewan look like. They're plant people. They'll be nice and offer you fuel, but don't abuse their generosity. They're very knowledgeable about the Institute and about the ancients. Yep, there's Acteron. They say they're part of a constellation called the Four Seedlings, which is in their space. That's probably those 4 stars in the nebula. So we need to find out which one is Acteron. Yellow one will also tell you about the origin of their conflict with the Thren. If you bring a Thren with you, then the Elewan will attack you instantly. On the other hand, if we find a Thren, since we have Elewan crew members, they'll attack us. So let's go find the planet Acteron 6. We'll go into one of those 4 star systems, and we'll look for a star that has at least 6 planets around it and go to the 6th planet.
Entering solar system.
No, that one's not it.
Entering solar
That one looks much more likely. So we'll go to that 6th planet there, the blue one. And we'll land using the coordinates we got from the McCann. That one has oxygen, but unfortunately doesn't have a good hydrosphere. So you don't want to log that planet unless you want to lose some money. So we're gonna use the coordinates that we got from the McCanns. Yeah, we just bounced on the planet's surface. Crew probably wants to quit at this point. Tired of me crashing like Launchpad McQuack. I don't think I landed in quite the right spot, so we'll fly over a little bit. Boy, this planet has some violent weather on it. There we go. The crystal planet. That's apparently what's causing the flares. So we need to find a crystal planet and blow it up with that black egg we found. That's why those planet bombs exist. Apparently they tried to blow up the crystal planet before and it didn't go so well. So now we're getting a really important clue. We need a crystal orb, crystal cone, and a black egg to destroy the crystal planet. So we know what we need to do now, we just need to know where to find them. Starflight was an important precursor to No Man's Sky. And I'm glad we've got a more modern space sim, but Starflight is still a classic worth checking out. We're coming to the end of our video, so I'm gonna save my game. And this is a good stopping point, so thank you for watching, and tune in next time. That's a good song to end the video on.